had never felt so hopeful as he got on the morning flight from Lagos to Cairo. For months, he had been dedicated to Shade from far away, with nights full of WhatsApp calls and late texts. This trip was meant to be the final step toward their future together. 3 months before, she had come back into his life like a dream, first with apologies, then with money to help him, and finally with a promise of marriage and a move to a new country. In Lagos, his small apartment buzzed with new hope. He got phone calls from companies her uncle had arranged, and nice emails from important people she introduced him to. It always felt like his move to the United States was about to happen. It was this promise, mixed with her love, that made him believe in her again. But as he walked off the plane into the hot air of Cairo, he felt a wave of worry. The airport, crowded with people, felt less like a place of opportunity and more like a step into something unknown. The air was thick with the smell of cars and the sound of people speaking Arabic. Workers in clean uniforms pointed him toward an exit where the night outside was bright with yellow lights. There, next to a worn-out pillar, stood Shade. She looked as beautiful as he remembered, with her red lipstick, stylish pantsuit, and the proud way she held her head. "Welcome," she said, her voice both warm and careful. She hugged him for a moment and whispered, "Ready for our honeymoon?" He was surprised by her word. Honeymoon? They weren't really married yet. They only had a marriage paper that her uncle helped them get quickly at the Ikoyi office. But in her arms, he let go of his last bit of doubt. If she could get him this far, he thought, the rest must be real. A nice black car was waiting for them. Shade got in the back seat and patted the leather next to her. He got in, and the doors locked behind them. The car started and drove into the busy Cairo night. Streetlights flashed by, and the sound of car horns followed them. He watched the city through the dark windows, tall towers against the sky, groups of people walking, and glowing signs for shawarma and falafel. Shade talked about a party that evening, a big event where she said the US consul himself would be. He tried to focus on her words, but he was tired from the flight and excited. The main thing he heard was her promise, that his visa would be approved there, in person, avoiding all the problems he had back home. He held on to her promises. They arrived at the Nile View Hotel, which had a shiny marble front. Inside, the lobby looked very fancy, with polished floors, big plants, and a huge chandelier. Shade walked confidently to the front desk, and a moment later, she was handed 2 keycards. She turned to him with a mysterious smile. "Room 1209, she said, and put her arm through his. "Go freshen up. I'll meet you on the rooftop terrace at 8. He was excited. She went to an elevator, leaving him standing in the fancy lobby with his suitcase and a mind full of dreams. He thought about her words, dinner under the stars and the big party that would secure his future. He stopped by a big staircase and noticed a door that said, Executive Lounge. He felt a strange feeling, but he was tired, so he used a keycard and went down the hallway that smelled like clean wood and flowers. The door to the suite closed quietly behind him. The room was cool and perfect. Heavy curtains were closed, a big bed had clean white sheets, and a small desk had a plate of fruit and a handwritten note. He put his bag down and read the note. My love, dinner on the rooftop. Don't be late. S. His heart beat faster. He took off his sweaty shirt, washed his face, and put on a clean shirt she had left for him. He looked in the mirror and thought he looked good. Feeling hopeful, he put his phone in his pocket and went to the elevator. The rooftop terrace was like another world, with soft music and copper lanterns. A small band played jazz and Arabic music in a corner. The music floated over small tables for 2, each lit by a golden lamp. The Nile River shined below, and a crescent moon hung in the clear sky. At the end of the terrace, Shade stood by a candlelit table, a slim figure against the dark. She turned, and her smile showed him everything he had lost, and everything he hoped to get back. "Leek," she said softly, walking into his arms. "You made it." He held her close, enjoying the warm smell of her hair. "I wouldn't have missed it." They sat under the lanterns, and for a short time, it felt like a magical dream. She told him how much she missed him, and he told her about his journey. It felt like the world was perfect. They had figs, nuts, chilies, and wine that tasted like sunshine. She made a toast to his bravery. He made a toast to her love. The night felt like it was all theirs. But under her laughter, he felt a slight tension he couldn't shake. When he asked for details about the visa interview, why it couldn't be at the American Embassy in Lagos, she paused. Her bright eyes, once so sure, now looked worried. She explained that new US rules required people with his type of visa to be processed in a different country. She said the Cairo office could do it faster, and any delay would cost him months. He nodded, believing the stories she told him. After dinner, she squeezed his hand and said, "Give me an hour at the party. Then the consul and I will finish everything. Your paperwork is ready." He watched her fix her dress and walk into the crowd, disappearing behind a wall of people in suits. He stayed behind, watching the lanterns swing and waiting for her to come back. The minutes felt like hours as the city lights blinked silently below. His phone buzzed. It was a text from a number he didn't know. "Are you alone? Is she with you?" His heart jumped. He started to type a reply, "Who is this?" But he deleted the message without reading it and put his phone away. An hour went by. Then two. The band packed up. The lanterns were dimmed. The head waiter came to clear the plates. Leek called her name quietly, but the workers just shrugged. He finally stood up, his stomach heavy with fear, and muttered, "She'll come back." But the empty night sky gave him no comfort. At 2:30 a.m., he left the terrace, walked back through the hotel, and went out to the empty street. The hotel looked like a giant tomb. His mind was spinning. Was she in trouble? Or had she left him suddenly, just like she did 10 years ago when she betrayed him? He called her number. No answer. He walked back and forth under the streetlights. Finally, he was too tired to stand and sat in the hotel bar until morning, drinking cold coffee and feeling a bitter suspicion grow. When the sun came up, he went back to his suite. The room felt strange. Her perfume was still in the air, but the new day brought no hope. His phone was on the nightstand, with missed calls and unread messages. He tried to be patient, telling himself she would be back with good news. He fell onto the bed in his clothes and fell into a troubled sleep. He woke up to sunlight breaking through the curtains. His body felt heavy, and his head was fuzzy. The door opened, and a serious-looking woman in a doctor's uniform came in with an IV drip. She said her name was Dr. Salma Adele and that she was a doctor at the hospital. She spoke in short, clear English. "Mr. Leek, you were brought here last night. You were unconscious. You are being given fluids and medicine. You were found in a house on the edge of the city. The police want to talk to you." Fear grabbed him. A house. Police. His voice sounded strange to him. She nodded. There was a raid. They stopped an operation before it happened. It's best if you cooperate. His legs were shaking as she helped him into a wheelchair. He followed her down the hall, the smell of medicine and fear filling the air. They went into a courtyard where a man in regular clothes was waiting. He was tall, with a neat uniform that showed he was from Cairo's Criminal Investigations Department. "Mr. Leek?" the man asked. "I'm Inspector Mahmoud Hassan. You were lucky." Leek stared at him, unable to speak. "Lucky?" The inspector's eyes were serious. You were the target of a group that steals people's organs. We have been watching them for 2 years. Last night, we got a tip that a victim would arrive in Cairo. We followed you to that house. It was a fake party hiding an illegal surgery clinic. We raided it just in time. They were getting ready to operate on you. A cold feeling spread through him. But, Shade. The inspector crossed his arms. A woman who looks like her and 2 men pretending to be diplomats were arrested. A fake consul named Dr. Luca, and a man who said he was your uncle, Dr. Kozim. They are in jail, along with your ex-fiancée, Femi. He glanced at the 4-drip. You will be taken to a hospital to continue your treatment and then to the courthouse to testify. Testify. The word felt like a final judgment. The betrayal cut deep into his heart. Shade, the woman he had risked everything for, was part of a criminal group that saw him only as a source of organs. He remembered her smile on the rooftop, the excitement in her eyes, the warmth of her hug. Every memory now felt like poison. In the days that followed, Leek's life was a mix of hospital rooms, police interviews, and court dates. He told them the whole story of his relationship with Shade, their reunion in Lagos, the online romance, the quick marriage, and the fake honeymoon that led him to that house. He showed them his phone logs, money transfers, and hotel reservations, proof of both love and a criminal plan. The trial was held in a large courthouse in Cairo. The 4 people on trial, Shade, Dr. Kozim, Femi, and Dr. Luca, sat together, a grim picture of betrayal. The prosecutor, a sharp woman in dark robes, carefully presented the case. She showed their secret messages, bank records of millions of dollars, lab tests of the wine that had drugged him, and photos of the surgery tools ready in the house's basement. The evidence showed a criminal group that used love and fake diplomacy to steal organs for money. When Leek took the stand, his voice was filled with pain and shock, but he told the story clearly. He explained how Shade had won him over with apologies, how she had promised him a better life, and how her uncle had gotten a fake marriage paper to trap him. He described the moment she took the glass from his hand at the house, the look on her face when the wine made him dizzy, and the sharp pain he felt before he passed out. Shade was called to testify next. Her story was weak. She claimed she thought she was part of a good cause that offered free medical help to the poor. She said she joined to help, not to kill. She said she never went to the basement where the surgeries happened and that when she found out the truth, she tried to warn him, but it was too late. Her voice broke as she looked at Leek and said, "I loved you. I tried." Her words faded in the quiet room. The prosecutor played a voicemail she had left for Inspector Mahmood, a panicked call asking for help. But the recording ended with her own shaky laugh, a laugh of pure fear, and then silence. The judge left and came back hours later to announce the verdict. Everyone was found guilty. Dr. Luca got 20 years for his crimes. Dr. Kozim got 15 years. Femi got 10 years. Shade, who was found guilty but had cooperated a little, got 7 years. As the judge's hammer fell, she lowered her head and cried. She looked up and her eyes met Leek's. Her look was full of a question he couldn't answer. Then guards took her away, and the woman he once loved disappeared behind bars. When the trial was over, Leek felt empty but also free. He had stopped a crime that crossed countries, but it had cost him his heart. In the silence that followed, he closed his eyes and listened to the sounds of Cairo, realizing that surviving was not just about escaping, it was about rebuilding his life. Weeks later, he was back in his apartment in Lagos. The bare walls felt like empty pages. He put his framed degree back on the wall and taped a small card under it that said, "From ashes, we rise." He took out his old laptop and started a new document called Safe Passage Initiative. He wrote plans for a non-profit group to help people who were in danger. It would offer legal help, counseling, and emergency housing for victims of trafficking and migrants who needed protection. He contacted human rights lawyers in Cairo, NGOs in Abuja, and got money from investors he had met in Lagos. At sunrise, he stood on his balcony, listening to the city wake up. It was full of life and new beginnings. He breathed in the warm air. The dark memories of his past were still there, like scars, but they no longer controlled him. He had survived betrayal, exposed a global crime ring, and taken back his life. He went back to his desk and started to draw. He sketched a man walking toward the sunrise, a strong figure against the light. Underneath, he wrote 2 words, "Still standing." In that quiet moment, as the city came alive, Leek knew that even though love had once led him into darkness, truth and a new purpose would lead him forward. He would not walk in the shadows alone again. This powerful story shows how hope can be twisted into a weapon. Leek's survival is not just about escaping death, but about reclaiming his life. He transforms profound betrayal into a powerful purpose, proving that true strength is found not in avoiding shadows, but in walking through them. If this story captivated you, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Folktales Blockbuster, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next story from the heart of the hustle. Stay safe out there.